All right, y'all, come on in. Today we're gonna be reviewing this Boudoir Facebook ad. We're gonna see what we're doing that's giving us good results, and also we're gonna see what we're doing that's giving us bad results. And yeah, we'll be following my same as always 10-step framework with the top 10 most common mistakes boudoir photographers are making in their boudoir Facebook ads. And I've already actually taken some other boudoir Facebook ads, fixed them up, solved some of these mistakes on my own, retested them, and been able to get 2 to 4x more women coming through the ad, engaging with the ad, consuming the ad copy, becoming pre-qualified, consuming our offer, literally for the same ad spend. And so, that'll probably result in more sales, same ad spend. If we're getting more of the right women coming through off rip. And kind of hidden metric that nobody else knows about or is talking about is unique CTR all. With our ads, we focus on getting us above 6%. I think nearly every boudoir Facebook ad I've seen is below 6%. And all this metric is how many women out of 100 engaged with our ads, aka how many women out of 100 was our ad relevant to, and also did our ad work with the meta ad algorithm, and then third, did our ad work with newsfeed psychology of women actually scrolling down the newsfeed. And when this metric is below 6%, almost every time, our boudoir Facebook ads are going to perform worse and worse over time. Going to be same ad spend, worse and worse and worse results over time. Kind of ad dies out, ad burns out. We got to refresh creative. But if we can get above 6%, like I can normally get 6 to 9%, then we actually have a better chance of the ad sustaining and scaling. So, same ad spend, better and better results over time. Scale the business, higher ROI, less refreshing creative, kind of less stress associated with that. And these actually top 10 mistakes I'm going to talk about are the more often they're made, out of 10, the higher chance ads are going to do worse and worse over time. So when boudoir photographers, if they're running their own boudoir Facebook ads, this is a super common thing that they keep going through is they got an ad, it works good at first, and then, they're spending the same on ad spend, but they're getting worse and worse results over time. And they're thinking that's normal, but it's not. It's this symptom of a deeper root cause issue, which we're going to talk about today, kind of what these 10 mistakes are causing. And that is this. Well, first of all, when this happens, the boudoir photographers, they're kind of feeling stressed, desperate, not knowing what's going wrong. But they see it happen to everyone, so maybe they think it's normal for ads to do worse and worse over time and just refresh the picture, refresh the creative, but the same struggle issues, structural mistakes are in the next ad as well. Or they're paying an agency every month a bunch of money, and that agency's refreshing ads, and they're spending the same ad spend every month, and they're getting worse and worse results every month. So then they're these boudoir photographers feeling frustrated, like, man, why am I paying these people money every month to give me worse and worse results? I mean, they probably gave me their best ads anyways, in the first few months to hook me, to get me to keep paying them. And those are already sitting in my ad account, so why don't I just keep running them on my own, because I don't really got to do much, and get rid of this overpriced ad agency who's just kind of spinning my wheels, giving me worse and worse results over time. So the root causes for both these issues is the initial ad data that the ad gets going to kind of our first group of women, our first tranche of women. So let's say we are making a bunch of these top 10 common mistakes. We get a low initial ad metrics like unique CTR, all some other things, and low conversion data, low conversion rates, kind of out of the gate. from the tranche 1 women that our ad went to in our city. Now that data is actually fed back into the meta ad algorithm for the meta ad algorithm to decide who to send our ad to for tranche 2. Now, because we had low initial metrics and conversion data, conversion rates, what happens is that data gets fed back into the meta ad algorithm, and our ads actually go to lower quality meta profiles for tranche 2. That's because kind of our tranche 1 data signaled, oh, not a very good ad, not a very good user experience. So we're actually gonna give this, push this ad towards the lower quality meta profiles. And guess what? These lower quality meta profiles, they have kind of it's like a lower profile level conversion rate overall. So what does that mean? For tranche 2, we're spending the same ad spend, same budget. For tranche 2, we get worse results. And what happens with those worse results? Worse initial ad metrics, worse conversion data for tranche 2. That gets fed back into the meta ad algorithm again for the tranche 3 women. And we go to even worse prospects compared to tranche 2 and compared to tranche 1. And this is basically we call the downward spiral of despair of Boudoir Facebook ads. We're kind of the initial data because these top 10 mistakes is low bad data, bad metrics, and kind of off rip, just tranche 1 data, downward spiral of despair. We go to worse profiles for tranche 2, same ad spend, worse results. Worse profiles for tranche 3, same ad spend, even worse results. Our ads burning out, our ads dying out, same ad spend, worse and worse and worse results over time. And it's kind of like what then eventually we got to decide when do we pull the plug, when do we refresh creative. But both of those, they're not solving the root cause issue, which is these 10 mistakes I'm going to talk about today. Now, conversely, the more of these top 10 mistakes we solve, then the higher chance something different happens. And is this: we can solve these mistakes, have a much better ad, much better user experience, more relevance, works with human psychology, works with the newsfeed meta ad algorithm, and we get good initial metrics and good conversion rate data from tranche 1 women. Well, that feeds back into the meta ad algorithm, and guess what? We actually unlock higher quality meta profiles for our ads to go to, and those higher quality meta profiles will, guess what, have a higher conversion rate kind of at the account level overall. But Meta kind of hides these, same as like a reel, shooting out a Instagram, Facebook reel. It goes to a small number of people at first. If it performs good, it goes to way more better people over time. So when we can fix these mistakes, we get good tranche 1 data, we go to higher quality meta profiles for tranche 2, which leads to same ad spend, better results, because we're spending the same, but we're getting more conversions. And all that data feeds back into the meta ad algorithm for tranche 3. And so we're getting even better meta profiles unlocked for our ads to go to for tranche 3. And Meta basically gatekeeps these profiles because they don't want to drive them off the platform with bad user experience. So it gatekeeps them kind of behind, only the best ads are shown to them. Best performing and obviously relevant as well, relevant to their meta profile. So these basically like super premium placements. And what happens over time is, same ad spend with every tranche, but we get better results tranche 2, better and better results. So we call this the upward spiral of awesomeness for Boudoir Facebook ads. So there's literally only 2 options. If we're making some mistakes, we're getting the downward spiral of despair, literally right off the rip from tranche 1, the data from tranche 1, our results and data from tranche 1, or we're getting the upward spiral of awesomeness, same ad spend, better results over time. Again, right off the data, right off the rip from tranche 1, as sustains and scale the business. So that's the reason for these 10 mistakes, why we focus on them so hard. All right, so now let's look at this ad. The first mistake is always that I look at is, does it look like an ad? So for that, I look at the creative. I'm literally just looking at their text on it. That's basically it. Does it look like a creative? Does it look like an ad? Yes, this looks like an ad. So the reason why looking like an ad is a mistake is because, people have ad blindness, banner blindness. People don't want to be sold to, so much higher chance of women, scrolling right on by on their Facebook mobile newsfeed. And these are women that could have converted, and maybe our solution was perfect for what they're going through in our life, but we never got a chance to tell them that or inform them of that because it looks like an ad, so they just kept scrolling. So we're going to have fewer women reading up here up top our See More headline, fewer women reading our full body copy, fewer women getting pre-qualified, so we're going to have fewer qualified leads, fewer qualified appointments. We're going to have more ghosting, more price hunters, more price objections, fewer sales, fewer bookings, lower revenue, fewer conversions, lower ROAS, all feeds back into the meta ad algorithm. Ad goes to lower quality meta profiles for tranche 2, which results in same ad spend, worse results, which feeds back again into the meta ad algorithm for tranche 3. Same ad spend, even worse results. And we're in the downward spiral of despair. Same ad spend, worse and worse and worse and worse results over time. Refresh creative, ad burns out, ad dies out. Refresh creative, but the same structural mistakes are still present in the ad. So it's just going to keep repeating over and over. All right, second, well, the next 2 out of 4, or the next 4 mistakes number 2 through 5, can happen up here in the See More headline. This is the most important piece of our ad. This is where 95% of ad spend is won or lost. And we know that because when women in our city are scrolling, 100 out of 100 women are seeing this See More headline. And it's the first 2 3/4 lines on mobile here that I got highlighted. And this is most important because if we go to this is where most of our impressions will be. So most of our impressions will be served, or ad impressions will be served in this placement. And we know that, but if we go to our backend meta ads manager, we go on the top right above the column names, we click the drop down for breakdown, and then we choose placements. And then if we go on the bottom left of our columns and of our page, we click the little summary row, that row at the bottom. We click the arrow, the summary arrow, bring it up. And if we sort by highest impressions, Facebook mobile newsfeed is there. So this is where the most impressions are. This is where our testing's done. And then the reason for our 95% of ad spend is won or lost here in the See More headline is when women are scrolling, 100 out of 100 women will be seeing this first 2 3/4 lines on Facebook newsfeed mobile. But then the amount of women that click the ... see more, which is here, which kind of hides the rest of the ad copy. If it's a good Boudoir Facebook ad, it'll be 5%, so 5 out of 100. Average will be, 2 to 3%. I can get it 6 to 9%, sometimes 10%. But basically, the amount of women clicking here, 5%, that means 95% of women are not seeing any of this. But all 100 women are seeing this. So this is where 95% of ad spend is won or lost. Now we want to have 4 specific attributes up here to be super specific, calling the right women, and these are all tested in our city, so it's specific to our market. So the first thing we want to have is a who. Who are we speaking to? What is their self-label? Or if they read it, they would say, oh my God, that's me. They're scrolling. They're like, oh, I saw something up here. Oh, that's me. I got to read this first 1 to 2 sentences, the See More headline, to actually figure out what they got going on, because it seems like they're speaking about me. So, do we have a who here? Who are we speaking to? On a project I'm going to release. This isn't soft, this is power step into. No, all right, so we're missing a who, which means we're going to have more women scrolling on by who could be good fits, but more women scrolling on by, fewer women getting their attention captured, clicking the ... see more, and fewer women basically reading our full ad copy, which is where they become pre-qualified, pre-sold. So again, fewer qualified leads, fewer qualified appointments, more price hunters, more price objections, more ghosting, fewer sales, fewer conversions, lower revenue, lower ROAS, all feeds back into the meta ad algorithm, this tranche one data to decide who our ad goes to for tranche two. And our ads actually go to lower quality meta profiles for tranche two, which results in same ad spend, worse results, which also feeds back into the meta ad algorithm, which results in same ad spend, even worse results for tranche three compared to tranche two compared to tranche one. Our ads entered the downward spiral of despair. Ad burnout, ad burnout, refresh creative, but still the same structural mistakes remain in the ad. So it's just going to be a repeat of the same process. The second thing we need to have in the CMAR headline is a negative experience. What are women in our city saying in their brain that they want to get away from? Kind of like they're on one riverbank and it says there's some negative thing over there, a pain, and they want to get away from this pain and hop over to the other riverbank, the other side of the river. And we always lead with a negative. Here's why. The probability a human takes an action to move from a negative experience, aka aka a pain, and takes an action to actually just get to back to a no pain state, a neutral, a homeostasis state, a normal state, is literally 100x higher probability that the human takes that action compared to that same human already being in a no pain, neutral / normal / homeostasis state, and then taking some action to get to some positive gain pleasure state. Literally 100x difference in probability of action being taken to go from negative to neutral compared to a neutral to a positive. And we know this because, think of ourselves going to the dentist. So we go to the dentist, get our 6-month teeth cleaning, whatever, teeth checkup done. And we're at the front desk, we're paying the front desk ladies. The secretary lady's like, hey, are you free 172 days from now on Tuesday at 7:15 a.m. for your next 6-month checkup? And we're like, dude, man, I literally have no idea. But text me closer then, or contact me closer then, and when I actually know my schedule, so I see how I can fit it in. So they put us in their auto texter machine, and they auto text us. Month 3, we ignore it. Month 4, we ignore it. Month 5, we also ignore it. And month 6 comes and goes, and we did not go to our dentist's 6-month checkup. And the reason is, we're busy building the business, scaling the business, focused on what we got to focus on. We got so many things we got to do. We like our schedule, we like our momentum, we're in the flow state. And going to the dentist, well, all right, so if we were to go to the dentist, we got guaranteed gains, guaranteed positives here. We got guaranteed cleaner teeth and guaranteed, that all cavities have been taken care of or we have no cavities, kind of some peace of mind there. But, those two gains, those two positives, they're not enough for us to take an action and actually put the dentist on the calendar and show up to the dentist. I mean, that's just the reality of it. So this continues. Month 8, we get an auto text. Month 10, month 12, more auto text. And we ignore more. We ignore them all. So month 12 comes and goes. And again, we didn't go to the dentist. Same exact thing. We're busy. We're focused, growing the business. And again, these guaranteed gains of slightly cleaner teeth and all cavities being taken care of, or knowing we have no cavities, that peace of mind. Those two guaranteed gains of us taking the action to put the dentist on the calendar, book an appointment, and actually show up, they're not big enough for us to do anything. Now, we enter month 13, we get to the end of month 13, and one day we're eating breakfast, and man, there's, pain on the right side of our mouth, in the back, on the bottom, those molars back there. with every single bite of our breakfast. It's like pain, 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 bite after bite after bite after bite. Like, oh, dude, this this is awful. This is killing me. But I'll just go throughout my day. So the whole morning up to lunch, our tooth is still hurting, even though we're not chewing anything. Jaw, a little bit of pain of our jaw, kind of in that tooth area as well. And then we get to lunchtime, and we're smarter this time. We're eating the food on our left side of our mouth, but still our teeth on the right kind of touch a little bit. There's some pain there. And because of muscle memory, some of our food actually gets over to the right side. So we're chewing that as well, and that's pain, pain, pain. And we can't even finish our lunch. We can only eat half of it, and we put it down. And we're like, dude, this is too much pain, too annoying. I can't focus. I probably won't be able to eat dinner. Probably won't be able to sleep. And so what we do is we're like, man, I gotta get this thing solved ASAP now. Get rid of this pain. It's so annoying. So we call up our dentist and we're talking with them. We're like, what do you mean you can't get me in 7:20 a.m. tomorrow? What do you mean you're booked out 3 weeks full? And they're talking to us like, yeah, we're booked out 3 weeks full. However, we can put you on the cancellation list. So if someone cancels, we can get you in. But there are a few people ahead of you on the cancellation list as well. And all this time we're thinking to ourselves, man, dude, I can't wait 3 weeks or, potentially 3 weeks to get this done. I gotta get this thing solved ASAP. So we hang up on our dentist. We call, and then we go and research, and we call literally, dude, every single boudoir, every single dentist in our city, calling them up, being like, can you get me in tomorrow? Hey, can you get me in tomorrow? Hey, can you get me in tomorrow? And finally, thank God, one person says, yes, we can get you in tomorrow, 7:20 a.m. Come on in hot. Come on in ready. And so we barely sleep at all that night. Get in 7:20 a.m. Take a look at us. Do the x-rays. Whatever kind of default stuff. Oh man, yeah, dude. Big cavity, right side of our mouth, in the back, on the bottom, one of those molars. So they go and clean it out, clean out the cavity, get rid of all the black stuff, cavity stuff, and fill it in with the liquid resin. Put the UV pen on us, harden it up. They do the teeth, kind of that bite paper. we're biting the paper to see if our tooth's too tall or not tall enough, making sure it's the right height. And then they clean the rest of our teeth, do the normal 6-month checkup. And we leave, we pay, we leave. We're kind of biting the air, testing it out, no pain. We go eat breakfast, no pain. We're like, oh my God. Yes, thank God. Finally solved that, no more pain. And I finally lived my life back to normal now and focus on all these other things I got to deal with. So there are two scenarios here. The first one, they literally 13 months. 13 months, so 400 days. We're in kind of our neutral / normal / no pain state. And there is a guaranteed gain, those two guaranteed gains. Slightly cleaner teeth and peace of mind knowing our mouth has no cavities. We don't take any action for 400 days for these guaranteed gains, guaranteed positives, guaranteed pleasure outcomes. 400 days, no action, going from normal to some positive. But dude, literally one day with pain, that same day, we're taking massive action, getting a dentist on the calendar, any dentist, calling up every dentist in our city, nothing's stopping us. We cannot deal with this pain. We got to get rid of this. We got to get back to normal. So literally one day from pain for us to take action to get back to normal, 400 days for us to take no action, to go from normal to some positive benefit, some gain, some positive. And so in this scenario, the difference in probability of a human taking action is 400x higher to go from a negative experience back to normal compared to normal to some positive experience, some gain. This is why we always lead with the negative experience in the See More headline. At least 100x higher probability the humans will actually take action. All right, so let's look at our See More headline up here. Unapologetic, since all his power. All right, so we're missing negative. We're not speaking specifically to what women in our city are going through. Kind of just saying solution, here is solution. Do you want to buy solution? That works only if we're the only solution provider in the area. Because other than that, people are going to unconsciously or consciously be comparing, contrasting, seeing who's actually the best and perfect fit for them and their situation. Sorry, I'm missing negative. So we're going to have more women scrolling on by, less women or capturing less attention, lower unique CTR, because we're actually less relevant. So we're going to fewer women to read the See More headline, fewer women to click ... see more, fewer women exposed and consuming the body copy. So we're going to fewer qualified leads, fewer qualified appointments. We're going to basically more tire kickers, more price hunters, more price objections, more ghosting. And we're getting lower sales, lower revenue, lower bookings, lower ROAS, fewer conversions. All this from the tranche 1 women. And all this data feeds back into the meta ad algorithm. And because of our low metrics and results for tranche 1, our ads actually get a lower quality meta profiles for tranche 2, which gives the same ad spend worse results over time. And we've entered the downward spiral of despair. Ad dies out, ad burns out, refresh creative. All right, the third thing we need to have in the See More headline is a positive. Kind of like they're on one riverbank, one side of the river. They see something on the other side, the other riverbank, that they're saying in their brain that they want. They want to take an action to acquire this positive thing. And so, do we have a positive here? Something that women in our city are saying that they want to themselves in their brain. And yes, we test these. The data tells us which is most relevant. So let's see. This is a step into a world. All right. No, we're missing the positive. So because we're missing the positive, we're not being relevant to what our women want. So way more women scrolling by, fewer women feeling like what we got is for them. So fewer women clicking ... see more, fewer women reading the body copy, which means fewer women becoming pre-qualified, which means fewer qualified leads, fewer qualified appointments, more price hunters, more price objections, more tire kickers, more ghosting, more people not answering us, which results in fewer sales, fewer bookings, lower revenue, lower ROAS, fewer conversions, all from our tranche 1 women, all feeds back into the meta ad algorithm. Our ads go to lower quality prospects for tranche 2, same ad spend, worse results, same ad spend, worse results, which feeds back into the meta ad algorithm for tranche 3, same ad spend, even worse results. So our ad has entered the downward spiral of despair. Same ad spend, even worse results over time. Ad dies out, ad burns out, refresh creative. All right, the third and fourth thing we need in the See More headline is a hesitation / roadblock. What is a reason, either real or imagined, that women are not taking action to go, get away from the negative thing on the left side of the riverbank, and get the other thing this other different thing that they do want on the other side of the river, the other riverbank. Basically, kind of like, they do got some solutions to get from one side to the other. They got a few different bridges. Ours is one of the bridges. They got boats they could take. They got helicopters. What's a hesitation or roadblock that's stopping them, even though it's getting them away from the thing they want to get away from, and it's on one side of the river, riverbank 1, and it's getting them this other kind of different orthogonal thing on riverbank 2 that they, the second thing that they want to get positive gain, or some hesitations or roadblocks they're saying in their brain that, the reason for them not choosing a few of the solutions. Maybe, they don't want to walk, so they don't want to do the bridge, or they're afraid of engines, so they don't want to do a boat or helicopter. So we put that in our ad to say, oh, you don't have to deal with these things, or you do have to do this, or you don't have to know this. So hesitation / roadblock now. So we're missing that. So we're missing something very special called the triangle of mental tension. Negative, positive, hesitation / roadblock in a triangle. This is like super specificity, really calling in the specific woman when we have it. Greatly increases conversions, but we don't have it, so we're missing out on that. So having fewer women, scroll by and come back up to say, hey, they're talking to the things I don't want, I do want, and I don't want to have to deal with. So they're talking to fewer of those women. So fewer women are going to click ... see more. Fewer women are going to actually read, open our full ad copy, consume our full ad copy, becoming pre-qualified. So we're going to have less of those. It's going to have fewer qualified leads, fewer qualified appointments, more ghosting, more price hunters, more price objections. Have fewer sales, fewer bookings, lower revenue, lower ROAS, fewer conversions. All feeds back into the meta ad algorithm from these tranche 1 women. And as a result, our ads go to worse quality meta profiles over time. Ad spend, same ad spend, worse results over time. Our ads die now, just kind of feeds into each other, feeds in, feeds in, feeds in. And our ad dies out, our ad burns out, and we got to refresh creative. Now, those are the first 5 mistakes that can happen in a Boudoir Facebook ad. The next 3 mistakes can happen here in the body copy. So we'll head to those right now. All right, so they click the ... see more. It opens this. They can read this, get pre-qualified, see if what we got's for them. But what we did was, they're scrolling fast. We got them to come back up, read our see more headline. 1 to 2 sentences here, which is huge. People are scrolling there. TikTok brain, fast brain, fast mode. So we slow them down a little bit, get them to read, with some relevancy, get them to read some, 1 to 2 sentences of who we're speaking to. And then they click the ... see more, and they get hit with a massive wall of text. And for their fast brain, we kind of grind them to a halt and kind of smack them in the face with a big wall of text. And we literally, because of TikTok brain, we literally got to give peeps a reason to keep reading, because their brain's like, oh my god, dude, 1 to 2 sentences was like right at my maximum capacity, and now I got 6 sentences to read or 20 sentences to read. I need a reason to keep going. So we treat our see more headline up top as a hook 1, and down here a hook 2. We actually need a hook 2 to get people to keep reading. So we always want to use a authority hook, a why you should listen to me hook, why you should listen to us, which is what I did at the beginning of this video, showing how I fixed these same mistakes in other Boudoir Facebook ads on my own testing, got 2 to 4x more women to consume the ad copy, become pre-qualified, all for the same ad spend. So that was my authority hook, a why you should listen to me hook. So let's see what we got here. No. All right, so we're missing the authority hook, which means fewer women are going to feel like there's a reason for them to actually keep reading. It's going to have fewer women consuming our full ad copy, fewer women becoming pre-qualified, fewer qualified leads, fewer qualified bookings, more price hunters, more price objections, more ghosting, fewer sales, fewer conversions, lower revenue, lower ROAS. All feeds back into the meta ad algorithm, which results in our ads going to lower quality meta profiles, would just say, kind of a lower master level conversion rate for those profiles, which results in same ad spend, lower results for tranche 2, which feeds back into the meta ad algorithm. Our ads go to even worse meta profiles for tranche 3. Our ads entered the downward spiral of despair. Ad burns out, refresh creative. All right, the second thing we need to have them buy copy is a story / narrative. This is our punch 2. Super important. This is where we write the movie script as if we have a third-person camera recording someone going throughout their day, the women we're talking to, and we talk about kind of what's going on in their life, what they're thinking, what they're feeling. This is where we empathize, saying, hey, I understand what's going on. I see you. I hear you. I feel what you're going through. Which, again, kind of what I did at the beginning, saying, boudoir photographers run their own boudoir Facebook ads. Ads keep burning out. Ads getting worse and worse results over time. They got to refresh creative, getting feeling desperate, or they're paying an agency every month, frustrated at the agency. Why am I paying you so much money every month? So that was like the punch to the story/narrative, opportunity to empathize, be human, say, I understand you, I see you. And the reason I call it our punch two is punch one is up here, the See More headline. This is literally meeting women in their brain, the conversation they're having in their brain, which again, data will tell us kind of which one is most prevalent in our city of all these specific attributes. And if we can get that conversation punch one correctly, dude, we're way more specific. We'll be way more specific than anyone else in our city. So they have to click see more. They cannot stop themselves. And that's when we know we've got punch one correct. And then punch two is when then we're also correct with what the heck's going on in their exact life, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and saying, hey, we have the solution to solve this. And then dude, we gotta get, once we can get this punch one, punch two correct, we literally turn into a market of one. We're literally the only option for that type of woman thinking these things and going through these things in our lives, because nobody else in our city will have gotten as specific and as correctly specific as us. So I feel like we're the only option for them. And also the second reason we got to get this 1-2 punch correct is once a woman engages with our Boudoir Facebook ad or any other Boudoir Facebook ad in our city, clicks the dot see more, clicks the link, engage with it in any way, for the next 24 hours, they're going to be hit with 20 different Boudoir Facebook ads from all the other competitors in the city. And guess what? Everyone's either A, using generic broad messaging, or aka not being specific, not speaking to a specific woman, or two, half the ads are copying the other half of the ads and they're seeing kind of the same ad copy over and over. So getting punch one, punch two correct works, kind of 5%, just us being specific, kind of just being different. But 95% it's for us to be correctly specific, be remembered, because yes, you can test this. Just go engage with a Boudoir Facebook ad, click the link, whatever, click see more. You'll be hit with a ton of Boudoir Facebook ads from all the other advertisers in the city in the next 24 hours on Facebook and Instagram. So we got to stand out. All right, so do we have a story/narrative here? Let's see. Talking about what's going on currently in their life? No. So we're missing a hesitation/roadblock. And because of that, fewer women are going to feel like we are specifically for them, that we understand them. So we're going to have fewer women actually finishing reading the full body copy. So we're going to have fewer women pre-qualified, which results in lower qualified leads, lower qualified appointments, which results in more price hunters, more price objections, more ghosting, and finally resulting in lower bookings, lower revenue, lower sales, fewer conversions, lower ROAS, which all feeds back into the meta ad algorithm, resulting in our ad going to lower quality prospects for tranche 2, which is same ad spend, worse results for tranche 2. We've entered the downward spiral of despair. Same ad spend, worse and worse and worse and worse results over time. Ad burns out, ad dies out, refresh creative. But the ad still has the same structural issues once we refresh the creative with all these, kind of top 10 most common mistakes we're going through here. All right, the third and final thing we need in the body copy is our full offer. Because the main purpose of our ad is to provide the correct context to speak to the specific woman and get her exposed to our offer after that context has been given to her. through the see more headline, through the body copy. Then at the bottom we need our offer. What are we offering? Let's see. No, schedule your free content. Nah, dude. All right, so yeah, we're missing the full offer here as well. And we want to have the full offer here because it pulls in the correct women that our stuff is for, 1 to 2% of them, which is a positive, and it also causes the other 98% that did click see more, but it's not for them to keep on scrolling on by, which we also need, which we'll talk about in the next mistake, mistake number 9. We're on mistake number 8 right now. It's going to have fewer women coming through pre-qualified. It's going to have fewer qualified leads, fewer qualified appointments, lower, which results in more ghosting, more price hunters, more price objections, and resulting in fewer sales, fewer conversions, lower ROAS, lower revenue, all feeds back into the meta ad algorithm. Our ads go to a worse qualified or worse, lower quality meta profiles for tranche 2. And we've entered the downward spiral of despair for our ad. Ad burns out, ad dies out, refresh creative. All right, the final 2 mistakes, mistake number 9, mistake number 10, happen here at the bottom of our creative, below our creative. Now, mistake number 9 is having any text or any buttons below the creative. Here's why. There's actually 3 reasons why. Reason 1, 5% of the reasons why, or basically 5% of the reason for mistake number 9 is makes it look more like an ad. Joins in with mistake number 1. Things look more like an ad. People are going to scroll on by. People don't want to be sold to. They get ad blindness, banner blindness. Fewer women engaging with the ad. There's nobody's posting their dog and having below creative headline text and a button. These are ad specific attributes. Second reason, so reason number 2 for mistake number 9 is 15% of the reason for mistake number 9. That is when women are scrolling, this is some deep newsfeed psychology here. They're scrolling fast. By the time they get here, their subconscious is actually surfaced and kind of processed, maybe a quarter to a third of the words or word phrases up here in the see more headline. Maybe they saw unforgettable, isn't soft, power once they're here. Oh, interesting. Okay. So once those words surface, their eyes are scanning this. And if there's any incongruency in the words, so if they're not the same, it's going to trigger the error detection network, which signals error, incongruent, confusion, keep scrolling. And this is all automatic, instantaneous, no, basically, nobody's actively thinking about this scrolling through the Facebook newsfeed. And so these words, unleash unapologetic stuff, unapologetic unleash, these words I would say actually match. But it's still a problem because any words down here in the bottom left makes it look more like an ad. So it's either kind of negative or very negative to have any words here in the bottom left. So we always remove them. Now the third reason that below creative headline or any words or buttons below our creative is a mistake is because it enables women to click these words down here or this button to actually go to the next page of our ad. This is a massive problem. Here's why. When the meta ad algorithm is going around to decide who to send our ad to, it's pulling from a few different pools of data. Pool 1 is the converters. So who has converted on this ad? And it looks at, what are the similar data points on these meta profiles that these meta ad profiles of the converters, and it finds those similar data points that they all share. And each meta profile is literally like over 1 million data points. And it goes to find the future meta profiles that share 96% of these similar data points, or 83% or 87%, something like that. So that makes sense for pool 1. The problem is with pool 2. This is where the meta ad algorithm does the same, but for ad clickers. So people that click, the ad was engaged enough, relevant enough for them to click on the ad, but they didn't convert for whatever reason, or maybe it's the landing page that was the problem. Now, these ad clickers, the problem is this pool is like 10 to 50x larger than the converters. The clickers is 10 to 50x larger than the converters. And if women are, clicking through by here at the bottom of the ad, aka they did not get forced to click ... see more and then read everything and then be able to click over, that means we're getting, dude, probably 96% plus where ad converters will be, or our ad clickers will be unqualified. And probably more, because like they didn't read anything. They maybe just saw the picture, thought it was, who knows, lingerie store or something. And they click learn more. And our ad's nothing like what they're expecting, and they leave. But their data was recorded in pool 2. Their meta profiles were basically captured in pool 2 for that meta profile. And so, if 99% of ad clickers are unqualified, well, guess what? 99% of the data in pool 2 is unqualified data from unqualified profiles. But that data we're kind of automatically telling Meta, go find more meta profiles like this with data points that match, or data points that signal 99% unqualified, which means the meta profiles we go to next will be 99% unqualified. This is why it's a massive problem. We actually want, like what I said in mistake number 8, the mistake before, we want the tiny tiny percent of women to actually click over, and we want 98% of women to, like, even after they click see more, to just keep going on by. This is why this pool 1, pool 2 phenomena. So, because we're making mistake number 9, again, lower initial ad metrics, lower conversions, all that data goes back into the meta ad algorithm. We're getting lower sales, lower revenue, lower ROAS. Our ads go to worse quality qualified prospects over time, lower quality meta profiles. Our ads burn out, our ads die out, and we got to refresh creative because we've entered the downward spiral of despair, kind of just feeding off lower results, feeding off lower results, feeding off even lower results, and there's no way to get out of it besides refreshing creative, starting with a new ad. But again, just changing the picture. We're not fixing the structural issues, mistakes of the ads, and we're quickly again into the downward spiral of despair. All right, the 10th and final mistake is objective. Now, I don't know if this ad is making this mistake. Yes, I don't know if we're making the mistake here, but leads objective is always the wrong objective, and leads is the one I see Boudoir photographers most commonly use. Here is why a leads objective is a mistake. When we choose our objective, Facebook Meta takes our city that we're focusing on, that we're targeting, and takes a 6% slice with kind of like the 95% percentile plus meta profiles, the highest probability to fill out a lead form, and some weighting to, respond to these keywords, either because of A, what they're searching, B, ads they've clicked on before, or C, what words they're saying when their phone is around them to anyone, their friends, whatever, even if they're not on a call. Because yes, the microphones on the Meta app and the Instagram app are always listening to us, kind of sucking in those keywords, pasting them to our data profile. So when we choose leads objective, we're going with a 6% slice that has the highest probability to fill out the lead form. Click and fill out the lead form. The problem is, so we're optimizing for lead form fillouts, lead form filler outers, but we're not optimizing for lead form filler outers who also answer our phone calls and phone texts and emails. And we're not optimizing for lead form filler outers who also book a call, show up to a call. And we're not optimizing for lead form filler outers who also buy. And because of that, we're going to have, a small dusting that just fill out the lead form and then, yes, does answer our phones, texts, and emails. And yes, we're going to have an even smaller dusting still that fills out the lead form and yes, does book a call, show up to a call. And an even tinier dusting yet that yes, does fill out the lead form and then does buy. But because we're telling Meta to go to put our ad in front of the dominant or the meta profiles with the dominant behavior of filling out a lead form, our ads are not going to the meta profiles with a dominant behavior of buying, and we want buyers. So we need to choose off rip the objective that puts our ads in front of buyers, people that spend money to solve problems, get away from negative and get this positive without dealing with this third thing. Because if we're doing lead form filler outers, okay, we're getting $1, $1.50, $2, $3 leads. Okay, but tiny percent are buying, and that makes sense because we're telling Meta go to non-buyers. So we're filling up our email list with non-buyers, and the problem with that is it screws up every step of our business after that. When people aren't buying, we don't know if our emails stink. We don't know if our text follow-up cadence is wrong. We don't know if we call them too late, too early. We've got no idea. But the problem may not be any of those things. The problem is the people that we brought in on our list, we're never going to buy anyways, no matter what, because they're non-buyers. No matter how awesome we fix everything else, all the steps after, basically everyone on our list, they were never going to buy anyways. So yes, we get some, vanity metric, increased, email list, but we're more stressed because nobody's buying. We're second guessing everything, changing our whole business when it may have been working fine. We just need to get the ad to the buyers. That's it. Maybe that's the only thing. The objective could be the only thing that has been screwed up. So yeah, we'll give half a mistake here. So we actually don't know what objective is being used. So let's give our ad here a final score and compare it to the boudoir photography industry, kind of the average. So let's see. So click an ad. Yep. We're missing a who, missing a negative, missing a positive, missing a hesitation / roadblock, missing an authority, missing a story / narrative, missing our full offer. Below creative headline and button, we got those. That's a mistake. And then half a mistake for an objective. All right. So overall, we got 9.5 out of 10 mistakes. And the average in the boudoir industry is 8 out of 10 mistakes for all the other boudoir photographer Facebook ads I reviewed. So yeah, pretty close to the average. Tiny, the small amount of fix can super improve this score, super fast. And I consider any boudoir Facebook ad that, has more than 2 out of 10 of these top 10 mistakes to be, well, I know it's an ad that's performing worse and worse over time. Same ad spend, worse and worse results over time. So it's a breaking down boudoir Facebook ad. Now, if we have a car that's performing worse and worse over time, it's a breaking down car. Where do we bring a car that is breaking down? We bring it to a car mechanic. Similarly, where do we bring a boudoir Facebook ad that is breaking down? We bring it to a boudoir Facebook ad mechanic. So if your boudoir Facebook ad has these mistakes I talked about today, and you're getting worse and worse results over time with your ad, same ad spend, lower conversions over time, lower revenue over time, and you actually want to get a fix, have better ads, have a higher chance that ads that sustain and scale the business, without you trying to reinvent the wheel here or blowing 95% of money testing creative, testing messaging to try to find winners. Then I do have a boudoir Facebook ads offer, boudoir Facebook ads mechanic offer today. Got two options to solve these mistakes. Option 1, I take the 10 mistakes, I shrink them down into 5 root cause problems. And then I charge per root cause problem myself on one ad. So I'll give a quick 30-second quote here. So root cause problem 1, does it look like an ad? Yes. So we got that root cause problem. See more headline, we need 4 out of 4. We had 0 out of 4. That's root cause problem 2. Body copy, we need 3 out of 3. We got 0 out of 3. That's root cause problem number 3. Below creative headline and button, we have those. We got to get rid of those. That's root cause problem number 4. And objective, we actually don't know which one we're using here, so we'll give half a root cause problem here. So we got 4.5 out of 5 root cause problems. So option 1, I charge $50 per root cause problem solved for one ad. And yes, you can take these fixes, apply them to all your other ads. And you can choose the minimum number of fixes as you want or the maximum number. And the maximum would be 4.5 times 50 bucks, so 225 bucks. And that's option 1. Option 2 is a much higher value option, which is we fix all the mistakes you want in all your Boudoir Facebook ads, and we create as many new Boudoir Facebook ads as you want with all these mistakes fixed. 100 bucks a month, flat fee, cancel anytime, and we'll collab as much or as little as you want, depending on how much time you want to input into this. But yeah, we'll be doing all the work. Both these are done for you. So once you decide the option that you want, you got my phone number, you got my email, and whatever social platform we're on, you can DM me on here as well. And once you hit me up, I'll ask you what you got for me, and then we'll go from there. All right, that's everything. Adios.